Hello, people of the world watching vehicle reviews on the internet. Welcome to this, the all-new 2025 Volkswagen I.D Buzz. Today I'm going to get this retro futuristic hippie mobile up in the air. We're going to nerd out the tech specs, see how it is constructed, and then go give it some e-beans. Is huge. That's pretty neat. They made the sensor a dark red to match the lens. What's up inside here? Well, this one does not have a tow hitch, but supposedly it'll tow up to 3,500 pounds with a braked trailer. As far as the exhaust goes, well, you got a speaker behind this little speaker grill. Up above this chunk of plastic that kind of looks like a stingray's face or the front of a Jeep lies a steel rear subframe, which houses AAP 550, which I'll get to in a little bit. But connected to all that is an all steel in construction multi-link rear suspension with aluminum knuckles, big plastic aero shield on the lower control arm, and aluminum upper control arms, fairly large diameter axle too. It's paired with a fairly girthy set of rear dampers made in Slovakia by ZF. Kind of neat how they're cambered forward like that. The front mounted rear anti-sway bar measures in at approximately 29 millimeter in diameter. I think the largest rear I've ever measured. Housed within APP 550, the rear electric motor, you have the XDS electronic transverse diff lock, which is a brake-based system. It's also capable of braking the inner wheel during cornering to aid in handling abilities. Terrifyingly, up above my head, this long wheelbase ID Buzz sits on VW's MEB platform and weighs in at a whopping 6,197 pounds, all thanks to a 1,230 pound, 91 kilowatt hour, 208 cell lithium ion battery pack. You can kind of see it up inside here. It's got a weird honeycomb effect to the outer casing. Little cooling vents. That is a stout sounding shield on this battery. It's pretty thick too, made out of aluminium. As far as the transmissions go, there are technically two of them independent from one another. They are single speed, dual stage reduction gears with an 11.349 final drive ratio. And it also subsequently has 4-motion all-wheel drive, albeit it is primarily rear-wheel drive unless slip is detected within a couple hundred milliseconds, the front motor will engage, or if sport mode is engaged, the front motor is always on. Everything is coated in VW's chassis wax to prevent corrosion. Up front, you have an all-steel in construction McPherson strut style front suspension with stamped steel lower control arms with steel knuckles, the ball joint easily removable from the lower control arm. Again, paired with a set of those ZF coilover front dampers. The whole underside of this thing is covered in plastic, but you can see there the front motor. Front anti-sway bar measures in at approximately 27 millimeter in diameter. No hairy cardboard underneath this rig. Just lots of plastic. It can take a hit. It's got metal hardware instead of plastic pop clips. All right, time for the braking test. I'm terrified to do this. This thing is huge. No one behind me. Ready, set, go. Oh man, wow. That was way shorter than I was expecting. Great brakes. Absolutely great brakes. I didn't think this was gonna stop that quickly. It was just firm, smooth, and controllable. That braking, in conjunction with regeneration from the motor, was made possible thanks to a 2-piston caliper with an enormous 15-inch or 382 millimeter front rotor. The wheels, while they look like Steelies, they're not. They're alloys with plastic hubcaps. They are a 20x8 with a positive 45 millimeter offset, wrapped in a set of two 35/50 20-inch Continental Pro Contact Texas 10 tires. I know because someone is going to ask the bolt pattern on this thing in case you want to swap it onto other VWs. Oh, it is a 5-lug. That's crazy. It's just a regular 5-spoke alloy underneath it. Pretty durable. Inner fender liner, plastic. It's thick plastic too. side vents are functional. A little cutout for the sensor makes it look like a blepping tongue. That's eyeballs and nose. Out back, you got hairy cardboard inner fender liner. And speaking of retro, out back, you got a 13-inch or 330mm drum brake. Of course, with regeneration from the electric motors. This might look a little strange right now, but to put it in perspective how far away the windshield is, I am like still another foot away from being able to touch it. So this thing is huge. In the name of science, it is now time to give it the beans. Bolstering? No. There's none. I do have an armrest though, that kind of counts, right? Wait, do I have a... Whoa, I got an armrest on both sides. The seat has ID dot embroidered into it. Has some pastel lemon yellow stitching and piping. It's kind of neat with a caramel colored leather. Is this adjustable? Oh, it is adjustable. They are heated, ventilated, as well as massaging, which work by inflating little air bladders in the seat. As far as drive modes go, you have to enable them in the center console and select Driv dot mode. And I can go from Eco to Comfort to Sport to Traction or Custom. And within Custom, I can change my driving dynamics, steering, drivetrain, adaptive cruise control, or light assist, as well as climate control. As far as traction control goes, that is also in the infotainment menu. You tap on ESC system, go from activated to sport. I can also rotate the drive selector on the steering column from D to B, which B will give you a little bit more regeneration for the batteries and give a little bit of resistance when you let off the throttle. All right, let's see what this thing can do. Ready? Go. Well, there's a shove. It didn't really have much of a launch control. Great torque though, that's already good. Yeah, this thing, that's surprisingly quick for how heavy this is. Does this thing even open? Ah, it does. What did that do? What? Weird. So apparently its face comes off. There's a bunch of foam. Underneath the beaklet of the 2025 VW I.D Buzz is AKA 150, an asynchronous electric motor capable of producing 107 horsepower and 99 pound-feet of torque. It is then paired with a PP550 in the rear, which is a permanent magnet synchronous electric motor that produces 282 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque on its own, giving you a combined system output of 335 horsepower and 512 pound-feet of torque. Digging in a little bit deeper into its mouth, the foam piece, from what I can tell, covers it directs airflow up into the heat exchanger since the motor is oil and water cooled, and also the AC condenser. So that's just a big scoop. Reservoir for the washer fluid. Now VW does employ hairpin winding technology on APP 550, which means that the stator wires are square copper. Square, that gives it a tighter radius bend to it, making it more dense and compact and energy rich. It sounds like I'm talking about fruit for robots right now. It does have a little stud for jump starting because it does have a traditional 12-volt battery, as well as the massive lithium-ion battery pack for the accessories. I think that's the coolant cap right there. You know what I don't see though, is any access for the brake master cylinder for brake fluid. I wonder if this has to be depaneled. Well, that's kind of neat. The wipers meet in the middle. E-beans. Good shove. All right, a handling test in a Buzz. Dipping into a corner. You know, because it's got such a heavy battery down low, it's very deceiving. You would think that it would just tip over as soon as it goes around a corner, but it doesn't. It doesn't feel like that. I'm leaning more than the vehicle is. I mean, these seats don't really have much bolstering to them, so I'm kind of using my human bolsters to compensate. This is a weird vehicle to drive. If you've ever driven a large van before, this is not the experience you're going to expect. And over bumps, it handles bumps fairly nice. And considering it's as aerodynamic as a brick, it doesn't have as much wind noise as you would expect. Speaking of wind, the windshield, it's heated on this thing, as is the washer nozzles. They're heated. That's kind of neat. As much as I harp on internal combustion engine vehicles for piping in fake sounds into the cabin, I wish this would. I want some spaceship noises coming out of this thing. It's acceptable in this vehicle, I feel. It can get away with some cheesy noises. Because it has such short overhangs, there's really, you can see the apex of the corner right there. There's nothing to the front of this. Weird that I'm talking about apexing a corner in a Buzz. Mid-corner bump, how does it do? Not bad. You know, for 6,000 plus pounds, I am not feeling it in the handling department. I'm not feeling top heavy. I'm not feeling a ton of weight to it. It's kind of numb. It doesn't give you a ton of feedback. I don't feel numb is actually the right word, because it does have some nice steering feel to it. It's variable rate. It's kind of got some heft to it at higher speeds. And that's weird. That is a weird feeling, darting the nose back and forth. It just wags like a dog's butt. It's hard not to smile driving this thing. It just makes you feel a certain kind of way. Especially when you're listening to the vinyl station on the satellite radio. That just hits different driving this. And mid-roll punch. Yep, it'll put you in your seat. You can probably tell by my hair. Punching it, no matter what speed you're at, you get a nice shove. Because of the design of the dual A-pillar, you have great visibility up front as well. Out back, it's not bad. One massive downside though, if you're driving anything over like 45-ish miles per hour and you put the window down, I don't know if the camera will pick it up. The headliner starts to wobble from the wind. It just sounds like you're shaking out a heavy towel. You can just hear the material going. This is a huge VW logo. Opens the door. It's got some bins to store stuff in and a shelf. Ooh, that's like super heavy duty. What is underneath here? Oh, that's so you can ejecto seat. It's got a little hydraulic lift arm. That's a rugged little cap. LED light does nothing. If I pull this, that's kind of neat. So it makes it like a lifted shelf, but I can literally remove the seats from this completely, which would make it a cargo van. Oh yeah, there's literally instructions right here telling you how to do it. Okay. Oh, the safety triangle is built into the door. That's neat. A button kind of looks like a new Beetle or a 8N Audi TT. This is a neat back seat. Heated seats, you can see there's an ambient light. If I remember correctly, there was a trick to this. So I buckle my seatbelt. Literally buckling your seatbelt. Yep, if I take my seatbelt off, it turns off. That's kind of ridiculous. These side windows slide. That switch down there. Ta-da! Sliding side window. And now the van's yelling at me because I opened the door. I got a pouch right here. There's another pouch down here. Not sure what this button does. Haven't figured that out yet. The door pockets have USB-C charge ports in the door. I have my own little climate control screen back here in the back. There's another one on the other side, but they're synced together. The center console up front, so you just press this button right here and that ejects it. And detach it, slide it back into this position. So now if I just press it down, it should lock into place. Flip this little tab down. Now it's shareable between the front and the back. Kind of interesting floor mats back here. It's like a placemat. Seems like it would get dirty easy though. Well, that's neat. There's a Buzz on the side of the seat right there. Pop this forward. Moving on to the backpack. But this thing is beeping and screaming at me because my door is open. But I want it to be open. What happens if I pull a strap? Yeah, there we go. I can recline. Oh, that's good. This seat is all the way reclined back and I still have a mile of leg room. You can be like 6'3" and sit back here and you'd be comfy. This is soft padded. That's another little Buzz. I got a little tray with a USB-C port, a square cup holder for a juice box or a fancy water, a little tweeter, another HVAC vent. Pretty sure these are vents down here by my feet. That side has a cup holder. The passenger side does not. There's another set of those little hooks so I could move that center console back even further. A strap. Oh, no way! I can fold that. Oh, that's how you do it right here. If you got to ride in the back, you turn that into a footrest and you recline. What happens if I pull this? Oh, I can slide. That gives way more cargo space now. Something I found weird about this is you just have to get up out of the seat and it shuts off everything for you. You don't have to touch anything. Although there still is technically a start-stop button. That's funny, it says engine. Not quite, motor maybe. It does have the touch capacitive buttons, which I really wasn't a fan of in the GTI. They're not as bad in this. A little shelf for some snacks or smartphones. This is some cup holders. Buttons to open the doors. There's some wood grain on the dash in the shade of millennial gray. To the right of the steering wheel, there is a wireless charge pad slot that you can shove a phone down in if you have a small smartphone. My giant iPhone doesn't fit inside there. As far as the infotainment system itself goes, it's super easy to use, although there is a ton packed into it, like IDA, which is the built-in robot you can have conversations with, as well as Dot Light, which has over 30 colors preset into it, and you can do two-tone color patterns throughout the interior, as well as customizing a bunch of other built-in robot features to help inattentive drivers be safer. LED map lights. Below the windshield, there is a giant light that illuminates. The stereo in here is decent. It's not gonna win any awards in the bass department, but it does sound good almost all the way up to the very top level of the volume where it'll start to distort. And the acoustics, because the shape of the vehicle, are great. Excellent job at making this feel like you're driving an old school bus as possible as you can with safety constraints, because let's face it, the original bus design wasn't exactly something you'd want to get in a frontal collision with. And obviously you can't build a vehicle that exact same way today, which would drastically change the design of the front of this thing. And you get a little bit of a feeling like you're sitting on top of the front wheels without actually sitting on top of the front wheels. And the windshield is just so, I can't get over how far away it is. If you have a cat or a small dog and you put a dash carpet, they would probably never leave the dashboard of this thing. But there is a big issue I find with this, and it's, who is this vehicle made for? It has the range of a small city car, but the capacity where you want to go on a long road trip with a bunch of your friends in it. However, it only has 6 seats. It's $69,000 for this one. They start at $59,000. And if you look at VW vans of the past, like the Westfalias, those could get pretty pricey when they're spec'd full of options comparatively to this today. So it is a bit of a niche vehicle in that aspect, especially because we lack the available cargo van version here in the States, which I feel a lot of people would probably use as an in-town delivery vehicle if it was available. And then there's the range, 231 miles, 234 if you get the rear-wheel drive version. And that is if you're driving in optimal conditions at a lower speed with nothing turned on, no climate control, not charging any devices, not constantly giving it the beans. But even with its drawbacks, it's such a neat vehicle to drive and to see in person. It gets so many stares. VW also knocked it out of the park with all the available color options for this, including the two-tone feature. And honestly, I don't really feel this thing has any strong competition. I wouldn't compare it against the minivan just because of how unique and different it is. If only they'll come out with the pickup truck version of it and all the other variants like they had with the original bus. It is now time to give this Buzz some scores. Starting with the bean score, the assessment of the feeling you get in your gut when you give it the beans. And the ID Buzz is getting a rating of... Oh, I gotta be careful. The bees are gonna think I'm swatting them. Look, there's one on my hand. It's ticklish. Next is the cookie score, the assessment of value, and at $69,000 and change gets a rating of, followed by the wrench score, the assessment of ease of maintenance, and it earns a rating of one of the more difficult electric vehicles I've seen just because of the shape. Followed by the squid score, the assessment of handling, and it managed to muster up a score of. Lastly is the penguin score, the assessment on how much I personally like a vehicle, and the ID Buzz earns a rating of. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll see you soon with another. Bye. There's a bee walking up my ass right now. I don't want to get stung on the ass. It did?